She locked herself in a bathroom stall at work, crying so hard she couldn't breathe. Then a soft knock came. A black cleaner whispered, "You don't have to talk," and slid a chocolate bar under the door. Seconds later, her boss walked in, saw them,
It's gonna
and
be all right.
smiled like he'd just found
I'm here.
ammunition.
If you've ever loved someone the world didn't understand, like, subscribe, and stay, you're gonna feel this one. Comment love wins if you're staying, because this couple is about to be tested.
Harper Sloane locked the bathroom stall and sank to the floor like her knees had been waiting for permission to quit. The marble was cold through her skirt. The lights buzzed overhead. Too bright, too clean. Outside these tiled walls, Lark and Row kept moving. Keyboards clacking, elevators chiming, a laugh in the hall like someone hadn't just been gutted in a conference room. Harper pressed her fist to her mouth to smother the sound. She'd promised herself she wouldn't cry at work, not after her first month when she learned the rule nobody said out loud. If you break quietly. Grant Whitaker's voice still scraped the inside of her head. He'd leaned back in his chair, cufflinks catching the light, smiling the way men smile when they're sure the room belongs to them. He'd tapped her deck with one finger. "Harper, this is enthusiastic," he'd said. "But it's not strategy. It's a diary entry. We need adults in the room." There had been that polite ripple of laughter, small, obedient. Harper's hands had stayed folded on the table, fingers laced so tight her nails left moons in her skin. She'd walked out with her head high and her stomach hollow, then turned down the hallway and came here, the women's restroom on the 26th floor, because it was the only place where she could be ugly without witnesses. Now she sat on tile with her back against the stall door, shaking. Her phone vibrated in her pocket. She didn't look. The tears came anyway, hot, humiliating, unstoppable. A soft squeak sounded beyond the stall. Wheels, a cleaning cart. Harper froze, holding her breath. "Please, please just leave." Footsteps crossed the floor, slow, careful. The pause was deliberate, like someone had noticed her shadow under the door. Then came a knock. Not hard, not impatient, just a gentle tap on the side panel, as if the person knocking didn't want to scare a cornered animal. Harper swallowed. "Occupied," she rasped. A beat of silence, then a low voice, calm as a hand on your shoulder. "I know." Her pulse jumped. "I'm fine," she said, and hated the lie as soon as it left her mouth. The voice didn't argue. "Okay." Another pause. "You don't have to talk, just don't hurt yourself in there, all right?" Harper's eyes stung harder. "I'm not going to," she whispered. Something slid across the tile and stopped in the gap. A chocolate bar. Small. Dark chocolate, gold lettering, the kind that looked like it belonged in a gift basket, not on a bathroom floor. Harper stared at it like it was a trick. "I keep some," the man said, almost casual, "for emergencies." Harper let out a breath that broke halfway into a laugh. "This is ridiculous." "Probably," he agreed. "But it helps sometimes." Her fingers trembled as she reached down and pulled the chocolate toward her. The wrapper crackled loud in the stall. "Who are you?" she asked. "Desmond," he said. "I clean this floor." A pause, then softer. "I've seen you rushing by. Your badge says Harper." Her throat tightened. "I didn't know anyone noticed." "We notice," Desmond said. "Not everyone says it." Harper squeezed the chocolate in her fist. "You shouldn't be talking to me. If someone hears..." "What? I'll get fired for being decent." His voice stayed gentle. "You can throw it away. I just heard you." Heard. Not watched. Not judged. Heard. Harper swallowed hard. "He humiliated me," she whispered, "in front of everyone, like I'm not real." Desmond was quiet long enough that Harper thought he'd left. Then he said, "Do you believe him?" The question landed like a slap and a rescue all at once. Harper's breath caught. She hated how quickly her mind reached for agreement. "I don't know," she admitted. "Then let me tell you something," Desmond said. "A man with a loud voice doesn't get to name you. Not unless you hand him the pen." Her phone buzzed again. This time it sounded urgent. She finally looked. Meeting moved up. Conference room B. Now. Panic spiked. She wiped at her face with the back of her wrist, smearing mascara. "I have to go." "Okay," Desmond said immediately. "Take one breath first." Harper closed her eyes, inhaled shakily, and let it out. She peeled the wrapper open and took a bite. The chocolate melted slow and bittersweet on her tongue, grounding her in something solid. "Thank you," she whispered. "You don't have to thank me," Desmond said. "Just stand up." Harper unlocked the stall and stepped out, heart hammering. Desmond stood by a cart angled away from her, giving her space. He was tall in a navy work shirt with a stitched name patch, deep brown skin against pale tile, eyes steady, warm. He didn't look at her like she was broken. He looked at her like she was a person. Harper turned on the sink and splashed cold water onto her cheeks. Her hands shook. She fumbled for paper towels. Desmond set a small pack of tissues on the counter beside her. "For your pocket," he said quietly, "in case the day tries again." Harper's throat tightened. "It will." Desmond's gaze held hers in the mirror. "Then you try again, too." Footsteps clicked in the hallway outside. Fast, familiar. Harper's stomach dropped. Desmond's eyes flicked to the door. "Someone's coming." "If they see me," Harper's voice came out thin. "Hold your head up," Desmond said, low enough that it felt meant only for her. "You didn't do anything wrong." The restroom door swung open. Grant Whitaker stepped in, phone in hand, tie perfect. His eyes swept the room. Harper at the sink with pink cheeks and a crumpled wrapper, Desmond by the cart, then sharpened into something colder. Grant's smile slid into place, polite as a knife. "Well," he said, "this is unexpected." Harper swallowed, but she didn't shrink. Not all the way. Behind Grant's smile, she saw calculation, and in Desmond's stillness, she felt a quiet promise. He would not move. Grant's gaze slid to the chocolate wrapper in Harper's hand as if it were evidence. "Was I interrupting something?" he asked, voice light, eyes not. Harper's instinct was to apologize. She swallowed it. "I was washing my hands," she said. Desmond didn't move from his place by the cart. He kept his hands visible at his sides. "Good afternoon, sir," he said evenly. Grant's attention snapped to him. "And you are?" "Desmond Cole," he replied. "Facilities." Grant nodded like he'd confirmed a category. "Facilities," he repeated, then looked back at Harper. "Conference room B. We're starting early. Time is money, and we've already donated enough of it today." Heat crawled up Harper's neck. She set the wrapper on the counter and reached for paper towels with hands that wouldn't quite steady. "Understood," she said. Grant drifted closer, filling the space with expensive cologne and certainty. His voice dropped. "Harper, you're talented. But talent without polish is noise. You can't afford to be emotional in rooms like ours." Harper clenched her jaw. She heard Desmond's words from the stall. "Don't hand him the pen." "I wasn't emotional," she said. "I was prepared. If you dislike the approach, that's feedback. But the way you said it was unnecessary." Grant blinked. His smile tightened. "Careful," he said softly. "That tone gets misunderstood." Harper knew the translation. "You'll be labeled." Desmond spoke before Harper's courage could evaporate. "Sir," he said, calm as a locked door, "if you need to discuss work matters, the conference room would be more appropriate." Grant turned on him slowly. "Are you telling me what's appropriate?" "I'm reminding you," Desmond replied, voice steady, "that people deserve respect in every room." Silence spread, thick and watchful. Grant's laugh was quiet, humorless. "Respect," he echoed, "from a janitor." The word hit Harper like a slap. Desmond's jaw flexed, but his face stayed composed. "Cleaner," he corrected. "And yes." Grant's eyes flicked to Harper, checking if she'd join him. Harper didn't. Her fingers curled around the counter's edge. "Grant," she said, voice shaking but present. "Don't." Grant's smile thinned. "Don't what?" "Don't talk about him like he's less," Harper said. "You don't get to do that." Grant stared at her, then nodded once, slow. "Interesting," he said. "You're picking this hill." Harper's stomach dropped. "This hill?" "This firm isn't a feeling circle," Grant said, the friendliness stripped away. "It's a machine, and machines don't run on indignation." He checked his watch. 3 minutes. He turned toward the door, then paused with his hand on the handle. "And Harper?" he added without looking back. "Clean yourself up. We need you presentable." The door closed behind him with a soft click that felt like a verdict. Harper stood frozen, breath trapped behind her ribs. The tears threatened again, not from sadness alone, but from rage. Desmond exhaled slowly. "He shouldn't have said that," he said. "He always says it," Harper whispered, "just with different words. It lands the same," Desmond replied. Harper stared at her reflection, blotched cheeks, mascara shadow, lipstick faded. "I can't lose this job," she said. "My dad's sick. The insurance is here. If I get pushed out—" Desmond nodded once, no pity, only understanding. "Then we move smart," he said, "not small." Harper blinked. "We?" Desmond tilted his head. "I know systems," he said. "I know how people get cornered and how they survive it." He tapped the clipboard on his cart, tasks checked, times logged, initials neat. and I know what gets written down. Harper followed his gesture. You keep records. I keep receipts, Desmond said. Harper's phone buzzed again. 2-minute warning. I'm late. Desmond pushed his cart toward the door. Walk with me, he said, to the hallway, so you're not rebuilding yourself while he's already seated. Harper nodded, grabbed her bag, and followed him out. The executive corridor was all glass and quiet money. People passed and glanced at her damp eyes, like at his uniform, at the gap between them that felt illegal. Shame rose, hot and reflexive. Desmond leaned slightly closer. Chin level, he murmured. Not up like you're performing, not down like you're apologizing. Level, like you belong. Harper lifted her chin. Level. They reached the frosted doors of Conference Room B. Inside, silhouettes shifted at the table. Grant's outline at the head looked relaxed, already in control. Harper's hand hovered over the handle. What if I freeze? She whispered. Then you pause, Desmond said. One breath, one sentence true. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a torn slip of notepad paper. He didn't hand it to her. He placed it on the ledge beneath the glass, offering it like a choice. On it, in careful handwriting, were 3 words and a number. Text me. Receipts. Harper stared, stunned. Only if you want, Desmond said gently. If you need to write it down while it's fresh. If you need someone to say you're not crazy. Harper picked up the paper, folded it twice, and slid it into her pocket like a spark. Thank you, she whispered. Desmond nodded once. Go. Harper opened the door. Conversation stopped. Heads turned. Harper felt the heat of their attention like a spotlight. Grant's smile reappeared, polished and bright. Harper, he said. Just in time. Harper walked to the screen and plugged in her laptop with hands that trembled but didn't hide. She took one breath. She chose one sentence true. My recommendations increase retention by 18% without raising acquisition costs, she began, voice clearer than she expected. Grant's eyes narrowed, just slightly. Harper clicked to her first slide, and in her pocket, the folded paper warmed under her thumb as her phone buzzed. Once, unknown number, no preview, just a vibration that felt like a warning. She didn't look back, but she pictured him in the hall, cart angled like a shield. A black man in a building that expected him to stay silent had spoken anyway, for her. Harper swallowed, steadied her pointer, and kept talking while the room held breath. Harper's voice didn't crack, but she felt every word scrape its way out of her throat, as if it had to pass a checkpoint. The room was all glass and polished edges, the kind of place where people spoke like they were already quoted. Grant sat at the head with his hands folded, a patient predator pretending to be a mentor. Across the table, 2 directors watched Harper with the blank interest of people deciding if something should be funded or discarded. Harper clicked forward. She had done this deck 3 times last night, once in her head while staring at her ceiling, once out loud to her own reflection, and once again in the bathroom stall while crying so quietly her lungs hurt. But this time, as she spoke, she kept hearing Desmond's low voice in the hall. Chin level. Not up like you're performing. Not down like you're apologizing. Level, like you belong. Harper's fingers tightened around the clicker. The current churn problem isn't caused by product gaps, she said, forcing her words to land with weight. It's caused by trust gaps. We're asking customers to stay loyal to a brand that keeps proving it doesn't know them. Grant's smile twitched. Harper saw it. How he disliked the clarity, how he preferred her softer, more eager to please. One director leaned forward. You're saying it's messaging? Messaging and behavior, Harper replied. You can't copy a competitor's voice and expect customers to hear you. People don't leave because your app is missing a button. They leave because the brand feels like a stranger. Grant spoke like a spoon in a coffee cup. We're not a therapy brand, Harper. Harper didn't look at him. Neither is a bank, she said, but banks still build trust, or they collapse. Silence. A small shift in posture from the director on the left. Interest. Harper clicked again and laid out the plan like stepping stones across a river. Micro-segmentation, proof points, story-first campaigns tied to actual product moments, and a retention pipeline that didn't treat customers like numbers to be squeezed. Grant waited until she paused for breath. So your pitch is feelings. Harper met his eyes. Level. My pitch is predictability, she said. If customers can predict what it feels like to be with us, they stay. If they can't, they don't. That's not feelings. That's math with skin on it. A director coughed, not laughing, but the air in the room changed. Grant's gaze sharpened, his smile still present like a mask that had glued itself on. Harper finished. She closed her laptop slowly, like she was putting a lid on something dangerous. The director on the left tapped his pen. Send me the assumptions behind your churn model, he said. I want to review the sensitivity. Harper's heart kicked. I will. She replied and kept her face neutral even as relief tried to pull her mouth upward. Grant stood. Great, he said brightly. And Harper, next time less performance. Harper nodded once and gathered her things. She could feel her own pulse in her fingertips. Her phone vibrated again in her pocket, but she didn't check it until she was out in the hallway. One new text. Unknown number. You did good. Harper stared at the message like it was a hand offered in the dark. She didn't know if she was allowed to smile, so she didn't. But something in her chest unknotted anyway. By the time she got back to her desk, the floor had shifted into the usual rhythm: emails, calls, the soft whir of constant urgency. Harper sat down, opened her inbox, and tried to pretend her life hadn't just been cut into before and after. She made it exactly 12 minutes. An Outlook meeting invite appeared at the top of her screen. HR check-in. Harper Sloan. No agenda, no preamble, just a time and a location. Her stomach dropped so suddenly she had to hold the edge of her desk. Grant's reflection appeared in her mind. That little slow nod in the restroom, the way he'd said, interesting. You're picking this hill. Harper tried to swallow. Her mouth was dry. She stood and walked to the break room for water because if she sat still, her fear would grow teeth. Her hands shook as she filled a paper cup. The coffee machine hissed like it was laughing at her. Her phone buzzed again. Unknown number. HR invite? Harper froze. She stared at the text, then at the hallway as if she could see him through walls. Yes. How did you? No, I saw Grant leave your row. He headed to HR wing. He walks like he owns the air. Harper's fingers hovered over the screen. What do I do? The reply came fast. Breathe. Don't go alone in your head. Take notes. If they ask you to describe the incident, ask what incident. Make them name it. Harper pressed the paper cup to her lips. The water tasted like paper and panic. A part of her wanted to ask him to meet her, to stand outside that HR room like he stood outside the bathroom. But that was impossible. That was how people got fired, how people got labeled. Her thumbs moved anyway. Harper. Can I call you? A pause. Then, unknown number, not on company lines. There's a service stairwell by the east elevators. 410. I'll be there. Harper stared at the words until the screen dimmed. Her heart beat hard and loud, like it was trying to warn her that wanting someone could become a liability. At 4, Harper took her laptop and walked to HR. The HR office had the same vibe as every HR office. Neutral colors, motivational quotes on the walls, the faint smell of someone else's anxiety. A woman named Marin greeted her with a warm, rehearsed smile. Harper, Marin said, gesturing to a chair. Thank you for coming. Harper sat. She folded her hands in her lap so no one could see them shake. Marin opened a folder. This is a standard check-in, she began, related to professional conduct and workplace boundaries. Harper kept her face blank. What boundaries? She asked. Marin blinked once, then regained her smile. There was a report that you had an interaction with a member of facility staff in the women's restroom today. Heat flashed through Harper. Of course. That's what this was. Not her work. Not Grant's humiliation. The fact that she'd been seen in the same room as a man in a Navy uniform. Harper's throat tightened. He was cleaning, she said carefully. I was washing my hands. Marin's pen hovered. And during that time, did he offer you anything? Say anything inappropriate? Harper heard Grant's voice. That tone gets misunderstood. She heard Desmond's voice. Don't hand him the pen. Harper met Marin's gaze. Level. No, she said. He spoke to me respectfully. He gave me a tissue pack. That's it. Marin's smile softened in a way Harper didn't trust. Harper, you understand why we need to clarify. Power dynamics, optics, potential discomfort. It's important everyone feels safe. Harper's hands clenched in her lap. I didn't feel unsafe, she said. I felt helped. Marin's pen finally touched paper. Did he enter the restroom while you were inside? Harper paused. If she said yes, it would sound like an accusation. If she said no, it would be a lie. He came in to do his job, Harper said. I was in a stall. He knocked and asked if I was okay. That's all. Marin's eyes flicked down to the folder. Did he knock? Yes, Marin nodded slowly. Okay, and did you respond? Yes. So there was a verbal exchange, Marin concluded. Harper's jaw tightened. A human exchange, she corrected. I was crying. He asked if I was okay. Marin's smile held, but her eyes hardened. Harper, in a corporate environment, these situations can be misinterpreted. Harper felt something snap into clarity. Misinterpreted by whom? By the people who needed her to be small, quiet, and grateful? Is this about me? Harper asked. Or is this about him? Marin's pen stilled. This is about professionalism across all levels, she said. Across all levels. The phrase tasted like disinfectant. Harper took a breath. Then let's be professional, she said. If this is an investigation, I'd like to know who made the report and what exactly they alleged. Marin's smile thinned. We can't disclose that. Harper nodded once. Harper nodded once. Then I can't help you build a story I can't see, she said. A beat of silence. Marin's gaze sharpened. Harper, no one is accusing you of wrongdoing. We just want to ensure you're aware of boundaries. Boundaries, Harper repeated softly. Like the boundary between respect and humiliation? Marin's brows lifted. I'm not sure what you mean. Harper's pulse pounded. This was the moment where she could either swallow her own truth again or let it take up space. In this morning's meeting, Harper said, voice steady, my work was dismissed in a way that was unnecessary and demeaning. Marin's face stayed neutral. Who dismissed it? Harper held her gaze. Grant Whitaker. Marin wrote something down, and you're saying his feedback was inappropriate. I'm saying it wasn't feedback, Harper replied. It was a performance, and it had an audience. Marin nodded slowly. I'll note your concern, she said, and Harper heard the emptiness underneath it. By the time Harper walked out, her legs felt like they belonged to someone else. She made it to the east elevators and turned into the service corridor like she was sneaking into her own life. The stairwell door was heavy and unmarked. Harper pushed it open and stepped into cool dimness and concrete. Desmond was already there, leaning against the wall with his cart parked like he'd claimed a small territory. He looked up when she entered, and for the first time all day, Harper felt her chest loosen. He didn't ask if she was okay like it was a polite question. He asked it like the answer mattered. How'd it go? He murmured. Harper tried to speak, and her voice failed. She swallowed, then whispered, They called me in because you knocked on a bathroom stall. Desmond's jaw flexed. Of course they did. Harper's eyes burned again, furious tears now. They asked if you gave me something inappropriate, she said, voice shaking. They made it sound like you were a threat. Desmond's gaze darkened, but his voice stayed controlled. Did you tell them the truth? Yes, Harper said. I told them you helped. Desmond nodded once, slow. Thank you. Harper laughed, short and bitter. I'm sorry, she said. I'm sorry my world is like this. I'm sorry you have to be careful just to be kind. Desmond pushed off the wall. He came closer, but not too close, like he respected invisible lines even when he hated them. Listen to me, he said. You don't apologize for their sickness. You don't take that weight. Harper wiped her cheeks angrily. But what happens to you? Desmond's mouth tightened. It wouldn't be the first time someone tried to make me the problem for existing in the wrong space. The words hit Harper with a weight she hadn't earned but suddenly carried. Desmond, she whispered. He looked away for a second, as if he didn't want to let her see everything. When he looked back, his eyes were steady again. I need you to hear this, he said. If they come for me, you don't have to save me. You save you. Harper shook her head. I don't want to win if it means you lose, she said. Desmond's expression softened, something almost painful flickering across his face. Harper, he said low, you don't even know me. Harper's heart thudded. I know you knocked, she said. I know you didn't laugh. I know you didn't look at me like I was entertainment. Desmond was quiet. The stairwell hummed with building noise, distant and muffled. Harper could hear her own breathing. What else do you want to know? He asked finally. Harper's throat tightened again, but this time it wasn't fear. Why do you carry chocolate? She said, voice small. Like you're always expecting someone to break. Desmond's lips twitched, not quite a smile. Because people do, he said, and because nobody brings anything to the people who clean up the pieces. Harper's eyes stung. Who brought it to you? She whispered. Desmond's gaze dropped to the floor. No one, he said. I started bringing it for myself, space it. Then I started sharing. Harper stared at him like she was seeing the outline of a life behind his uniform. You're not just facilities, she said softly. You have a whole you. Desmond gave a small, tired laugh. Yeah, he said. I do. Harper took a breath. Tell me, she said. Desmond hesitated, then nodded once. I used to be in accounting, he said, and Harper blinked. Not here. Somewhere smaller. I did school at night. Thought I'd do everything right and life would reward me. Harper's chest tightened. What happened? Desmond's eyes held hers. Life didn't reward me, he said simply. And when my mom got sick, I took whatever shifts paid. And when I took those shifts, people stopped seeing me as a person with a degree and started seeing me as with a mop. Harper's throat closed. That's not fair. Desmond's expression was calm, but there was steel under it. Fair isn't what runs buildings like this, he said. Perception does. Harper looked down at her own hands, pale against her dark skirt, nails bitten from stress. And you're still here, she whispered. I'm still here, Desmond said. Because my little sister is still in school. Because rent still exists. Because sometimes survival is the only protest you can afford. Harper's eyes burned with something bigger than tears now. I didn't know, she said. Desmond's gaze softened again, but his voice stayed steady. Most people don't ask, he said. They just decide. Harper swallowed. I want to ask, she said, even if it's messy. Desmond studied her as if measuring whether she meant it. Okay, he said quietly, then ask. Harper's heart pounded like it was warning her and urging her at the same time. What do you want? She asked. Desmond's breath caught, just a tiny hitch, almost invisible. Right now? He said. Harper nodded. Desmond's eyes didn't leave hers. I want you to make it through this place without it taking pieces of you, he said. And I want to stop meeting people at their worst moments and then disappearing like I was never there. Harper's throat tightened hard. You don't disappear, she whispered. Desmond's voice dropped. In buildings like this, he said, I do. Harper took one step closer, close enough that she could feel warmth in the cold stairwell. Not close enough to touch, but close enough that the air between them felt charged. I texted you, she said, almost accusing herself. Like I needed you. Desmond's mouth tightened. And I came, he said. Harper's eyes flicked down to his hands, strong, careful hands that cleaned other people's messes all day. I don't know what I'm doing, she admitted. Desmond's voice softened. Me neither, he said. But I know what it feels like when someone sees you. That's rare. That's dangerous. That's worth being honest about. Harper's breath shook. They're going to talk, she whispered, if they haven't already. Desmond's gaze hardened slightly. Let them, he said. People who live off gossip starve without it. Harper laughed weakly, and Desmond's eyes softened again. For a moment, the concrete walls held them like a secret. Then the stairwell door above them creaked. Footsteps. Harper's whole body tensed. Desmond's hand lifted slightly, not touching her, but hovering near her elbow like he'd catch her if she fell. The door opened. Grant Whitaker's voice floated down, amused. Well, he said, like he'd found exactly what he wanted. Would you look at that? Grant didn't come down the stairs right away. He let his presence arrive first, the polished shoes on concrete, the unhurried confidence of a man who believed every hallway belonged to him. Harper's throat tightened. The stairwell felt too narrow, too exposed. Desmond stood beside her, steady, his hand hovering near her elbow without touching. Grant's face appeared at the landing, smile already in place. I should have guessed, he said. Harper lifted her chin. This is not what you're implying. I'm not implying anything, Grant said smoothly. I'm observing. The optics are unfortunate. Desmond's voice stayed even. We're talking, that's all. Grant descended a step, in a locked stairwell, with an employee from my team. Another step. You're making this very easy for HR. Harper's anger rose through the fear. You went to HR because someone checked if I was okay, she said. That's control. Grant's smile didn't move. Careful, you're already on thin ice. Desmond shifted half a step, refusing to shrink. Sir, you don't need to be here. Grant's gaze flicked to Desmond's name patch, and you don't need to speak unless spoken to. Something inside Harper snapped into clarity. He can speak, she said. He's a person. Grant's eyebrows lifted. Crusader Harper, trendy. It's decency, Harper said. Grant's laugh was soft. Decency doesn't build careers. People like you don't get ahead by getting attached to staff. The word staff landed heavy, ugly. Harper felt it hit Desmond first, then her. Desmond's jaw flexed. You're not going to threaten her. Threaten? Grant's smile widened. I'm protecting her from a reputation. His eyes locked on Harper. You don't want to be that girl. Harper pulled out her phone and held it like a weight she'd chosen. And you don't want to be that man. Grant's smile stalled. Excuse me? You humiliated me, Harper said, voice steadier than her heartbeat. You sent me to HR for being human, and now you're following me into stairwells to intimidate me. Grant's eyes flicked to the phone. Are you recording me? Harper swallowed. Do you want me to? Grant's expression cooled. Put it away. Now. Harper didn't move. Grant stepped closer. I can make your life here very difficult. And I can make yours very public, Harper said. Grant glanced at Desmond with casual contempt. Is he coaching you? Because I can have his badge taken before dinner. Desmond didn't raise his voice. You can try. Grant's smile returned, thin. I sign emails. Harper felt guilt punch through her chest. How easily Grant could hurt him. Desmond, she whispered. Go. Desmond stayed. Not like this. Grant's tone sharpened. Here's what's going to happen. You'll walk back to your desk. You'll stop fraternizing with facilities, and you'll remember people are watching. Harper's breath shook. People like you are always watching. Good, Grant said, satisfied. He turned to leave, then paused. The director asked for your churn assumptions. I told him I'd send them. Consider it a favor. The blood drained from Harper's face. He was taking her work again like it belonged to him. Grant's footsteps faded upward. The door shut, leaving concrete and breath. Harper's knees went weak. He's going to ruin me, she whispered. Desmond stepped closer. He's going to try, he said. Then, quieter. I didn't tell you everything. Harper looked up. What do you mean? Desmond opened a small black notebook, pages filled with dates and times. I keep logs, he said. Who's where? What I hear. I started because I kept getting blamed for messes I didn't make. Harper stared. You wrote him down. Because he's done this before, Desmond said. We don't beat him with feelings. We beat him with receipts. Harper's hands shook around her phone. If this costs you your job, I'm already treated like I don't have one, Desmond said. At least let it mean something. Harper stepped forward and hugged him, sudden and fierce. Desmond held her back, careful like he knew tenderness could be used against them. I hate this place, Harper whispered. Then don't let it be the only place that knows you, Desmond said. They pulled apart. Harper wiped her face, breathing hard. Okay, she said. Smart, together. The next days became quiet strategy. Harper stopped being alone with Grant. Every meeting, she brought a witness or followed up in writing. Every draft, she saved with timestamps. I'll send that for you, she answered with an email. Thanks. Please note I will send directly. And Desmond kept listening. Stairwells, hallways, break rooms. A folded note under Harper's keyboard, 7:22 p.m. I'll have her replaced. A text. 12:10. She's getting ideas. Each line made Harper's stomach turn, but it also lit a path. The final review meeting landed on a Friday. Grant arrived early, already talking like the air belonged to him. Harper arrived with her laptop, a printed executive summary, and her pulse under control. Halfway through her presentation, Grant cut in. We've aligned on the core framework, he said smoothly. My team refined it. Harper let the silence hang for one full breath. Then she slid the printed summary across the table. My name is on the author line, she said calmly, and I have version histories with timestamps. This framework is mine. Grant smiled, gentle as a trap. No need to be territorial. Collaboration is part of. I agree, Harper said. So let's collaborate with full credit. She looked around the room, then at Marin from HR, seated to observe. And while we're being transparent, I need to address a pattern that has impacted my ability to do my job. The room stilled. Grant's eyes sharpened. Now is not the time. It is, Harper said, voice level. She turned her laptop so the director could see a timeline, dates, notes, follow-up emails. I'm not asking you to take my feelings as evidence. I'm asking you to take facts. Marin shifted, startled. Grant's smile hardened. Harper is emotional and documented, Harper cut in, including being called into HR because a facilities employee knocked on a stall to ask if I was okay when I was crying. One director frowned. Another leaned forward. The air changed. Less performance, more gravity. The director on the left exhaled slowly. Grant, he said, voice flat, we're pausing this meeting. Marin, we need a formal review. Harper, forward that documentation to me directly. Grant opened his mouth, then closed it. Harper nodded once. I will. When the meeting ended, Grant tried to catch her in the hallway. Harper didn't stop. She walked until she reached the service corridor by the east elevators where the building stopped pretending. Desmond was there. He looked up and Harper's composure cracked into relief. I did it, she whispered, and tears came. Real, unhidden. Desmond stepped close and cupped her cheek. You did it, he said softly. You still walked. Harper leaned into his hand. I was terrified, she admitted. I know, Desmond murmured. You didn't let it steer. Harper swallowed, heart loud. What happens to you now? She asked. Desmond's eyes softened, steel under it. Now we see who they protect, he said. If they come for me, we fight. If we lose here, we build somewhere else. Harper's throat tightened. I want you in my life, she said, not as a secret. Desmond hesitated. That's a hard life. I'm asking for a real one, Harper replied. They'll whisper. They'll call me reckless. They'll call you a threat for doing what any decent person would do. And I'm done letting their fear write the story. Desmond's breath caught. Harper, I sent the documentation, she continued, voice shaking. I didn't use your name. Not yet. But they're going to ask who helped me keep track. I want to say it was you, because you deserve credit for standing between me and something ugly, but I won't drag you into it without your consent. Desmond stared at her for a long second, as if weighing every way the world had punished him for being visible. Then he nodded once, slow. Say my name, he said. If they want the truth, they can have all of it. Harper's eyes burned. Thank you, she whispered. Desmond searched her face, then leaned in slowly, giving her every chance to step back. Harper didn't. When his lips met hers, it was steady and sure, like a promise spoken without words. When they pulled apart, Harper rested her forehead against his. If they punish you for helping me, we don't beg, Desmond said. We don't hide. We tell the truth and we keep walking. Harper's laugh broke into a sob. Okay, she whispered. Desmond's eyes held hers. And Harper? Yeah? Don't ever go cry alone again, he said. Harper nodded, tears shining. I won't. For the first time in weeks, Harper breathed and Building couldn't take it. They stood there in the plain light of the service corridor, choosing each other anyway. Because love wasn't the absence of danger. It was deciding to be brave for someone and to be brave with them.